Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and General, good to see you. Thanks for spending time with a number of us in Munich. Do you agree that one of the most important strategic advantages we have in terms of our national security is that we are an ally-rich nation, our adversaries are ally-poor?
Senator, absolutely.
And do you also agree that the ally-poor nations like Russia, China, North Korea, Iran, that they recognize that, they don't have many allies at all, and that they try to undermine our alliances? Isn't that what certainly Vladimir Putin's up to?
Yes, sir. I think his intent is actually to fracture NATO, and I think it's because he does fear NATO. He knows the power of that alliance.
So given that, are we doing enough diplomatically, militarily, right now, the Trump administration, to reinforce our alliances, expand our alliances, deepen our alliances? What's your assessment of what we're doing and what we could be doing better, whether it's in the military realm or diplomatic realm? How are we doing on that?
So I think we absolutely have a focus on building partner capacity, building our relationships with our partners. We're a leader in NATO. From a EUCOM perspective, that's something, I mean, we work on this every day. I don't think there's any question of that, particularly on the military side. It's a very close relationship with our partners. It's day to day. You know, it works both ways. We learn from our alliance partners as well.
Are there things that you recommend that we could do more of or better in that regard? It's really, really an important issue. Or the Senate. We play a big role in terms of our allies, treaties.
Well, I think, you know, in terms of the alliance itself, here again, I keep coming back to it, but I think it's whole of government in the sense that every agency in the government does their part, and it's clear to our allies that from every agency in the United States that the alliance is important, and it shows and demonstrates in its actions that the alliance is the bedrock of transatlantic security. So there's no disagreement in what they see in terms of action, not just on the military side, but in terms of our diplomacy, our information, our economics, et cetera.
I wanted to switch over to an issue that a number of us have been focused on, and we've had discussions on it, is what's happening in the Arctic and the importance, the increasing importance of that region in terms of strategic resources, transportation, a lot of concerns of our NATO allies like the Norwegians and others about the significant Russian buildup in the Arctic. And as you know, it doesn't look like a friendly buildup. 4 new brigade combat teams, a new Arctic military command, very aggressive actions in the high north, including a military exercise that was a snap exercise with close to 50,000 troops that EUCOM was barely aware of, which is kind of in and of itself not a good sign. A number of us, Senator King, the chairman, were concerned enough that we didn't have a strategy on that, so we required the Secretary of Defense to actually put forward a new Arctic strategy. There's a classified and unclassified version. Have you read that?
I have not read it, no.
So I would highly recommend that you take a look at it because it's the new DoD strategy. It's not perfect, but it's a heck of a lot better than the one that was previously published by DoD, which was pretty much a joke. And so, of course, EUCOM has a lot of important elements to play in that strategy. But one of the things it emphasizes, it does talk about our strategic interests, which the last strategy didn't even bother to do. But one of the things it emphasizes is looking at freedom of navigation operations, the ability to actually push back on the Russian buildup, which includes 40 icebreakers, 13 more under construction, several new seaports and harbors. But although it emphasizes FONOPS, do you think right now if Russia decided to deny access to vital U.S. or Arctic shipping lanes in the Arctic region, that you, as the commander of EUCOM, could you provide the President an option of conducting a surface fawn-up to challenge that act, like we're trying to do in the South China Sea, given our assets right now? Because the strategy emphasizes fawn-ups, but it certainly seems like the means that we have right now wouldn't enable you to make such a recommendation to the President. What do you think about that, General?
I think it would depend as well on the circumstances in terms of the location and time of year, because of the assets that we have as well. As you know, the Northern Sea Route lays in closest proximity to Russia's coastline as well, which complicates that given their military buildup. So we clearly need to invest more in the kind of assets that help us in the Arctic. So that's how I would respond to that, Senator. We can give options. We certainly need to improve our capabilities, and I'm concerned as well about our capabilities with respect to the high north and security of the North Atlantic, et cetera.
That's just a diagram of what the Russians are doing. It's pretty significant.
Roger.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.